Norway took its oil wealth and built the world's largest sovereign wealth fund, investing in pensions, healthcare, and the future. Britain, on the other hand, sold ours off in the 1980s, handed control to private corporations, and spent the revenues on short-term tax cuts. Today, Norway has one of the highest standards of living in the world, while the UK is stuck managing decline. Thatcher's Conservative government was responsible for handing over control of North Sea oil to private corporations, dismantling public ownership and prioritising free market policies over long-term public wealth. Thatcher forfeited long-term public income from oil in favour of short-term privatisation proceeds and tax cuts. Norway, by contrast, remained public control and built up the 1.6 trillion Norwegian sovereign wealth fund from its oil wealth. The UK spent most of its oil revenues on general government spending during the 1980s, with little legacy investment.
Wow. What goes on in here affects the lives of millions of people around the world. This is the headquarters of Norway's sovereign wealth fund.
The fund is a financial colossus. It's one of the largest single stores of wealth ever assembled, maybe the biggest. The fund owns global infrastructure, ports, airports, chunks of major world cities, and roughly 1.5% of all the stocks and shares listed in the entire world.
Thank you.
The fund is worth the equivalent of nearly 25,000 tons of gold.
Look, online, there's a website which shows the actual market value of the fund in real time. It is a staggering sum. So this is in Norwegian kroner, but in pounds, it's more than 1.2 trillion pounds. That is an almost unimaginable figure. For me, the best way of understanding how much a trillion is to convert it into seconds. So rather than thinking of it in pounds, think of it in seconds. 1 million seconds is almost 12 days ago. 1 billion seconds is more than 31 years ago. But 1 trillion seconds is more than 31,000 years ago. 1 trillion is a huge figure. All right, thank you.
I'd come to see the fund's chief of staff, Trond Grande.
Trond, hello. Good. Simon Reeve, nice to see you.
Grande, nice to meet you.
I know you're very busy.
Absolutely.
Can we come in?
Of course.
Oh, fantastic. Now, you've got a book here. What is this? Pressure.
Pressure.
Lessons from the
psychology of penalty shoots.
You're a man who deals with pressure that most of us cannot comprehend.
Yes, but I think we all do, right? And the points he tried to make was, you know, how can you prepare for the pressure?
This is a colossal store of wealth.
Of course, it's just a staggering amount of money. But I mean, honestly, for us, it's just another kind of 3 more zeros or 6 more zeros or 9 more zeros, right? You become slightly kind of blind to the size of it.
The Norwegians spend less from the fund each year than the amount it's increased by. So it's just grown and grown. So sensible and Scandinavian.
Can you imagine how good you have to be at delaying gratification and thinking long term when you've got an ice cream store right outside your office? How on earth do you cope with that? That is a source of temptation.
It is.
I think this says a lot about you.
About restraints?
Yes.
Well, we have to feel it quite often, right? So people tend, especially now during summer, late afternoon, grab an ice cream and stay outside.
Yeah, but look at your washboard stomach there. You're clearly not eating all of these, are you?
No, I'm leaving it to everybody else to eat, yeah.
Look, this cannot... Trond, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've just seen another... This is brilliant.
This is, yeah.
Is this how decisions are taken?
Yes.
Look at this.
Yeah.
So it has buy, sell, hold, or panic. This is a decision-making cube.
Absolutely essential to what we do, yeah.
For anyone who trades in stocks and shares, look, what's it going to come up as?
Panic.
Panic?
Panic.
Thank you very much.
So who's actually rolling the dice here?
Where are we going now?
Now we're going to the trading floor. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Please. So this is essentially where the action happens.
What's going on here? Can you tell us anything? What are you doing?
Yeah, today is month end, so then we always have fundings or defundings. So that's
Which means buying and selling?
Yes.
A lot.
A lot.
Yes.
Define a lot.
Yeah, right now it's $2.5 billion.
You look remarkably calm for somebody involved in such activity, fueled by Coca-Cola.
I've done it many times before.
Of course you have.
We have good systems, so I know it's taken care of.
Most Norwegian oil and gas wealth goes to the state. Their fund is now large enough to support Norway's schools, welfare and hospitals for generations to come. Historically, Britain extracted more oil and gas from its North Sea drilling area, but much of the revenue went to companies. Some argue it boosted our economy, others that we squandered it. Either way, we never set money aside like the Norwegians.
As a Brit, I am left thinking what might have been. It's lunchtime.
Yeah. Need to grab something to eat. Yeah.
I feel a bit weird being out here with you. I feel like this is Trond. This is Trond.
I'm not famous.
But almost why not? Because you hold, through the fund, you hold the future of everybody here. It is true.
Yeah.
The billions they've earned from oil and gas has given Norwegians one of the world's highest standards of living.
After you.
But of course...
So when you see politicians cheering Liz Truss for delivering growth through tax cuts, perhaps it's time to think again about whether the voting choices that you're making are the right ones. Do we want to deliver tax cuts for the wealthy at the expense of the entire population's prosperity?
Grace rally starring Liz Truss. They will not get everybody into the room. There is a genuine buzz here. And these, of course, are Tory party members. They voted for her to become leader of the party and Prime Minister. And they weren't asked, of course, when she was removed. But even more importantly, it's the message. It's about helping small business, reducing taxes, and actually getting growth, which is the only way we get out of this mess. I've got to tell you, this is more exciting than anything happening in the conference hall.
Never held responsible for the things that he's done. How does he get away with everything from telling people that Brexit was going to be brilliant, to telling people that Liz Truss's budget was a stroke of economic genius, to telling people that Vladimir Putin is the most admirable politician in the world, the politician he admires most in the world, and then, of course, lying about it? We could really just drive home the way in which he does disgusting things and lies. He helped to stir up the riots, I think, in the summer, didn't he, by using Andrew Tate, the alleged rapist and people trafficker, as a news source when he spends so much of his time castigating actual journalists who try in increasingly difficult circumstances to do a decent job. And, of course, we haven't mentioned his fandom of Donald Trump, a man who is crashing the American economy, attacking Britain in various ways. Elon Musk, of course, who's telling all sorts of lies on social media about this country. He describes himself as a friend of J.D. Vance since 2012. J.D. Vance claiming that British police officers implementing British laws in Britain are more of a threat to us than China or Russia or any of the actual international threats that this country faces. How many people know all the stuff that I've just listed?